women will still require the same type of examination that they currently undergo. So lots of women are coming in excited that it may be the end of the speculum, but it's not. We will still be using the speculum examination to visualise the cervix, and the doctor or nurse will be sampling the cervix in the same way as they do now. And then instead of putting the cells that are collected onto a slide, what will happen is that that sample will be placed into a liquid-based medium and sent to the lab. At the laboratory, a HPV DNA test will then be run on that sample. If a woman is positive for HPV DNA, then the cells in that liquid will also be looked at. If the sample is negative for HPV DNA, then the woman will not require another test for 5 years. It's a much more accurate and a much more sensitive test. So to understand the reason for that, we need to just have a quick understanding of the role of HPV in the development of cancer of the cervix. So HPV, or human papillomavirus, is responsible for over 99.7% of cancers of the cervix. And we know that human papillomavirus usually is acquired. There's about 40 types that can affect the genital tract, and it's acquired from skin-to-skin sexual contact. Penetrative intercourse is not necessarily required, so skin-to-skin and mucosal contact can transmit human papillomavirus. And most women will clear a HPV infection within 1 to 2 years. For those women who have persisting HPV infection, the time to produce changes in cells is in the order of about 5 to 10 years. So it's a very slow process. So you acquire HPV DNA infection, majority of women will clear it, but women who persist with the HPV DNA infection may then go on to develop abnormal changes of the cervix, and that takes many years, over 5 years for that to happen. And then if there is persistence, then and you get precancerous changes, then the next step in the process is invasive cancer, and that takes even longer again. So by testing for the human papillomavirus, we know that if the test is negative, then the chance of having any abnormal cells develop in the next 5 years is virtually zero. If the test is positive, well then the next step, the next part of that test is that the cells are looked at to ensure that they are, if there's any changes there. So this test, in a nutshell, is really looking at the earliest step in the process. So rather than needing abnormal cells present to detect the abnormality, we're looking for that initial step in the process. So it's a very sensitive test, meaning that if the test is negative, the chance of there being a problem in the next 5 years is virtually zero.